Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Scale with AI Summit. My name is Kelly Tenney, and we are here with another amazing hack session. And today I have Bruce Fleck, who is, I'm proud to call, a personal friend of mine, and definitely someone I always think about when I think about AI, especially when it comes to hacks, because Bruce always has something really cool up his sleeve, something new that he's doing. And Bruce, I don't know if I've shared this with you, but you really are someone that I know is always forward thinking, testing out new things. So I couldn't think of a better person to have here on our hack session today. So welcome.
Thanks so much, and it's always a pleasure working with you, Kelly. You're such a warm, thoughtful, innovative person, so it's always fun to connect with you. So I appreciate it. You're on the cutting edge as well, and out there spreading the good word, evangelizing for all of us about what we can do with AI to improve our lives and improve our education system. So appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And before we dive in, I know you've got some really cool flows and methods to share with us today. I want to share a little bit about Bruce for any of you who may be catching this hack session and doesn't know about Bruce or doesn't know a lot about him. Bruce has coached dozens of professionals, developed proven methods to implement AI for maximum impact. And his deep knowledge across technology, psychology, business, and coaching really, Bruce, is what I think gives you that unique insight into the challenges of integrating AI into daily work. Like every time we talk, your just wide range of knowledge in different industries is always something that I'm always really impressed with. And I think that's one of the reasons why you've been able to not just harness AI, but to really have almost a deeper understanding of the way things can work because of the depth of knowledge that you have across certain industries. So,
Thanks. Yeah, I have a pretty varied background. Engineering school with electrical engineering, computer science, then an MBA in marketing. Worked in several different industries: telecom, CAD software, internet development. Then in medical devices for a number of years, big, small, medium companies. Then pursued a PhD in psychology, integrating learning technology and psychology, all before this AI revolution hit us. So it just prepared me perfectly for what's happening right now. So just a little bit of dumb luck, but it's all working out.
it's more than a little bit of dumb luck. And with that, I want to ask you, I know you've been working on something inside of your business, something that you're using with a lot of your clients, something called the A for AI integration. Now, can you share a little bit with us what that's all about?
Sure. It comes back to when we think about two things: productivity and then how we manage our workflows. A long time ago, I took a course in my MBA, and my two favorite courses were one, a strategy course, business strategy course, and the other one was a operations management. And they seem like very opposite ends of the spectrum. But when you think about businesses, they're made of three primary things: products, processes, and people. And so, in order to get the most out of people, we got to have good processes. So that's what the operation management was about. And then when we think about thinking strategically, how can we make the most impact? And over the years, I've come to the realization that I don't care anything really about productivity systems or methods. Doing things efficiently, that's great. Having to-do lists, getting things done, all those different methods, setting priorities, that's great. But when it really comes down to it, what is the impact that we're doing? And so I measure everything in terms of impact. And that's what kind of led me to this A4 AI integration. As I was learning AI from you and Darby and the other people, and you were instrumental in me getting my feet wet and getting off and running with that course we did on change makers. It was really, I saw that I could begin to accelerate the work that I was doing, then not only just do it faster, but do it better and have greater impact with it and amplifying it. And then we learned about bringing in frameworks that allow you to augment what you're able to do. So skills that you didn't have, but somebody else has already proven it, you bring that in and use AI to help you. And then we all were thinking, oh, this is going to automate everything. And then we tried to automate stuff and it was really hard. So I think automate is really the last thing that you should be doing when you're looking at your work. If it's okay, I could share my screen and share what this framework looks like. And then we'll run through a kind of a demo example if that's okay.
I would love that. And I love your take on the idea of automation. I think there's so many AI experts out there that are talking about automate with AI. In fact, I think it's something that the majority of the people talk about. And so I'm really interested to see what you have to share because I think that's a thought disruption around wait a second, like what if it's actually the last thing that you think about doing? So, yeah, you should have screen sharing rights. And I'm excited to really watch you go through this process. I think it'll become clear on why automation is maybe better fit at the end.
Great, thanks. And what I'm sharing right now is in a tool called napkin.ai. And the idea is pretty simple that a lot of times when you have these brilliant ideas, you're out with somebody and you just sketch some stuff on a napkin. So that's what this is really looking like. And it's all just like a notebook, piece of notebook paper. And I came up with this idea of 4 different areas: accelerate, amplify, augment, and automate. And if we really think about the productivity or efficiency, that's where the accelerate and amplify come in. And then you need to increase your skill levels, being able to prompting and understanding systems and how to combine different systems to allow you to begin the augmenting and automating where you can have much greater impact. And yeah, this is just the definition of accelerate. You're doing something that you already have the skills to do, but you're learning how to speed up the process. And then with Amplify, it's something that, again, you already know how to do, but you're improving the quality or you're improving the reach of what you're trying to do. All right. And so we've got this little graphic showing the megaphone. Now, I'm going to show you one cool little thing here in Napkin. I didn't have a graphic here for visualization. So all I got to do is, you see this little lightning bolt right here?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. It's going to generate some suggestions for us based on those words. I'm looking for augment. How does that look? No,
Wow, that's amazing.
I can generate some more if I'm not liking that. Okay, let's just grab that one. Okay, and then if I that, then I can pick a different color versions.
Very cool.
Okay, you get the idea, right?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, to automate is really the last thing we should be doing. And I want people to think in terms of that you don't have to automate the whole thing. You can start by automating pieces, and you shouldn't really automate anything until you've refined and proven the process of your workflow using AI. And then once you have that, then you can start automating the different pieces. So that's the framework in a nutshell. And what we're going to do is, as an example, one of the typical things you do in a company is, whether you are self-employed or whether you work in a company and work for somebody else in a role like a marketing role or a finance role, whatever, is you have to solve a problem that your company is facing and make a presentation to the leadership in order to get funding and people to be able to do whatever it is you want to do to solve the problem. I've got a company here that it's a fictitious company called Tech Comfort. Actually, it's called Comfort Tech, not Tech Comfort. That's funny. Comfort Tech. And they're a software company, and they sell software, back office software for HVAC companies. And my role is the director of growth strategy, and I report to the CEO. And we've got a problem. We were growing really well before COVID was flat, of course, but then we've had problems getting back to our growth trends that we had before after COVID. And so we're trying to figure out what to do. And what we'd like to do is secure some funding to change our marketing and sales enablement approach. And we've got about 45 minutes to discuss that with the executives and come up with a plan. Now, if I were to go over to Claude, and yes, I'm just going to run this project right here. And this will be a little bit of the automation that we'll talk a little bit more about in the future. But I'm just going to grab this information here about our company and what we're trying to accomplish and drop it in right here. And let's just see what Claude can do. Okay, so I've told it what the problem is. And right now it's going to walk through the 4 stages of AI integration. And it's going to first tell us how long it would take if we were doing this by manually. We'd start with research and data gathering. We'd do some initial analysis that takes some more days. Then we'd develop a strategic framework and then develop our presentation and refine it. And this would take 2 to 3 weeks of normal business time. Let's move to next step. So what would it look like if we could just start looking at some acceleration of these processes? And what I've done here is I told Claude to give us some prompts on how to accelerate the process. So rather than having to do all those pieces by hand, we can use AI to help us. In the research and gathering, here's a prompt: analyze the HVAC contractor management software market, include top competitors, focus on companies in this revenue range. All right. So these are some prompts that would help us in each stage. And then research and gathering, initial, the strategic framework, and the presentation. All right. So here's how it would help us save some time. Now let's go on to the next phase. I'm just going to tell it to proceed. So here's how it would amplify the quality and impact of the presentation. It would give us some enhanced data insights. And here's a prompt to do that. It would help us write a compelling narrative structure. And so here's the prompt to do that. I'm not having to write these prompts. I'm telling it to give me prompts. Persuasive argument building the prompt, persuasive argument building that kind of looks at each of the roles. And that's how it would amplify it. Now, let's see how we could augment this. Okay, so here are some different presentation frameworks that can be used. There's of course, the great consulting firm, McKinsey's 3 Horizons of Growth, Kotter's 8-step, balanced scorecard. Okay. I need something that uses a strategic framework to analyze the options, the problem and options, as well as do some belief shifting with the leadership team because they are not on board yet with using AI and automation for marketing and sales. Let's just see how that works. Okay, so this talks about a SCARF model for doing belief shifting. That's interesting, in the 4 actions framework. Okay, I like that. Yes, combine those 2 approaches and proceed. So it tells me how to analyze it and specific belief shifting elements that will help me make a presentation. Now, I told it to make this presentation in Markdown in a code block. So that's what this looks like. This is a code block, and this is in Markdown. And I have this for a very specific reason, because when I go to put it into a presentation tool like Gamma, then it can read this appropriately. All right. I would normally spend a little bit of time going through this and making sure that it all fits my story exactly the way I want to, but I'm not going to do that here because of the amount of time we've got going on. But I'm just going to copy that, and then I'm going to go over to Gamma, and we're going to show you how it automates a presentation for you. This is really cool. And Gamma is one of the sponsors of our AI Scale with AI Summit. So I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to paste in text. I'm going to paste in all of that markdown. It's going to be a presentation. I want it to preserve the text. I don't want it to change the text. I want to use AI images, professionals, business professionals. Okay, and I want it to be 20 cards, because I think I had 20 slides. Yes, I got 20 cards, and we're ready to go. And watch the magic start to happen. I need to pick a theme. So I have some custom themes here, and I'm going to use this theme here, maybe this one. Yes, okay, and we're ready. It's starting to generate the presentation. This is near magic in my mind.
So while it's generating, I want to ask you, I know you said that you kept it in that format, like code.
Markdown
Yes.
code.
Why did
Yeah,
you keep it
markdown
in that?
code.
And why did you keep it in that format versus just having it write out your slides and then sticking it right in Gamma? What's the difference that people are going to see if they keep it in that markdown?
So in markdown, it's very clear what is a new slide and what are bullet points, numbering, all that formatting comes over perfectly into Gamma if you use markdown. Now, if you wanted to grab this markdown and you want to paste it in a new Google Doc, there is a setting in Google Docs, and I'm just going to do a new Google Doc. There's a setting in Google Docs where when you do a paste, why is it not showing me paste with markdown? There, paste from markdown. So you need to go into your settings. I believe that's under tools and preferences and enable markdown. But if you do that and then you paste from markdown, then it does all the headings properly. So this is a heading 2. Here's a heading 1 for the title. And that's exactly what these are right here. The
Right.
title is one hashtag and then 2 hashtags for heading 2 and then all the bullet points. And so it's a great way to preserve formatting when you're going back and forth into something like Google Docs or into Gamma.
I love that because that's my biggest issue with Gamma. Hello, you just solved one of my biggest pain points is I'm like, oh, it doesn't quite capture the heading than the subheadings as I'd like it to. So I find that I'm going in and I'm editing it a little bit, but I certainly am not putting it in Markdown. I'm really just pasting it just from a straight Word document and sticking it in there. So I'm excited to another hack within a hack. I'm excited to give that a try.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yes. I watched tons of YouTube videos from experts out there, and it was a hack I got from somebody else. I'm not the genius. I'm just a little bee that flies around all the different flowers and collects little pieces of pollen and remembers them. Yeah.
It's
So
so great. And I'm seeing a lot of changes different. I'm excited to see your whole presentation because I bet that is Markdown is the key to why I'm seeing some differences in what Gamma usually generates for me.
yes, that is one thing. And then your themes, custom themes with your brand colors and light or dark and the different fonts you want to use. Then, as I was doing this, I was also picking the images where I wanted them to come from. And so they were AI generated images, but then you get to choose which model you want to use. So they've got several different image models to choose from. One of the great things about Gamma, of course, is that you can change the layout if I didn't like the previous one. And if I was unhappy with the layout of this, I think, go over here and there's a regenerate right here, edit with AI. And if I wanted to make this more visual, I can just click on this. It's going to regenerate this in a different format. See, there you go. Or I could go, if I didn't like that, I can go back to the original.
Mm.
And these are all AI generated images. So very cool. I've already got something very workable. Now, I just wanted to show you one other thing is ChatGPT just released a new search option. So if you're on the pro plan, you'll see this little globe icon for search. And I was just put in this prompt, what are the top 7 trends that are negatively affecting the online marketing in 2024 for B2B SaaS providers like this company? And it gave me a really good list with citations of things that are there. So if you're trying to do problem solving and you need some data of what's going on, ChatGPT's new search option is really good also. And then one last thing I'm going to show you in Claude is I put together some financials. Okay, please graph these financials using, and React is just a specific graphing language. Now I had to mess with it a little bit, but okay. So it's creating the code. Now this is the code for what the graph looks like. But when it's done, it's going to actually produce it. So your data analytics and data visualization, look at that. It shows the financial performance and it's interactive. You can get the exact number by clicking on anything. Yeah, if you're making presentations and you've got data you need to analyze as part of your problem solving, which is, very common in business, we see a problem because of the data, and then we need to figure out what to do. So you would start by doing some data analysis, but just throwing the data in there, having Claude or ChatGPT help you find some of the issues that are going on, trends that are going on, and then visualizing it is just super powerful. So I could just copy this graph and put it into the presentation as well too. That's enough of the magic. It's not end-to-end automation, but there are plenty of pieces that were automated in there, and you got to see how we could accelerate the process, how we could amplify it by making it higher quality, and then how we could augment it by bringing in some decision-making frameworks and belief-shifting frameworks.
I love that. I think it's fantastic. And I wanted to ask, when you were running the prompt and you kept telling it to proceed, I'm assuming the prompt you were using, you've already told it about your A for AI integration method. That was already built inside the problem solution?
Yes, over here in Claude, I was using what's similar to GPTs, but in Claude, they're called projects.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between a GPT on ChatGPT is that's public, anyone can get to it. In Claude, the projects are always private to you. Right. And I put in the goal of what we're trying to accomplish today. And I have the 4 stages, the AI framework right here. And so it knew to move on from one to the next. I had it help me produce a list of instructions. Here's the instructions, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that's how I was able to just tell it to proceed. Mm-hmm. But this is a great little piece of not only acceleration and amplification, but even automation, if you will, because if you're going to do something over and over again, you got a prompt that works or a series of prompts, step-by-step prompt, then you put it in a project and just use it over and over. And that's exactly what I do. As you can see, I've got a handful of prompts here for building email nurture sequences or building landing pages. If you're creating content to support any kind of lead magnet or offering, then you need to create some social media content and some videos. So here's content marketing pillars and posts. If you want to do events. And so I'd do one for micro courses. Kelly, I know that's a great thing that you love to do. So I'd create a project for micro courses. So it's a great way to semi-automate your process.
Yeah. And I'd love to ask you, so thank you for that amazing presentation. Like I said, there were like hacks within your hack where I was like, oh, I have to do that. Because as I shared, even with Gamma, like Gamma is amazing. And sometimes there's a lot of formatting. I notice with mine, Gamma likes to add content. I'm assuming that's because I don't use it in that markdown, right? So it's probably more solid. It's going to follow more of the instructions when it's in that markdown format when I just because I usually just throw text in the box.
There was a setting that I went over when you create new. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I got the right text, but let's just go back here.
I know there's a setting with how much content you want it to actually generate right within Gamma.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was preserve the content. So that was the key. It was this one, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if I just copy this and I went to Gamma and I paste the content in, the magic here is next slide. See this, generate, condense your content, or preserve. And so since I did all the work in Claude to get it exactly the way I wanted to, I don't want it to change it, because I had that problem before where it was rewriting the content that I had already perfectly made with ChatGPT. So the key here is to do the preserve, and it will take your content exactly as is. And then here's where you can choose the different kinds of image models. Flux is really good, like Midjourney, for faces and stuff. And then Ideogram is good when you want to include text into your images.
Awesome. Yep.
And then, of course, don't forget, you have to tell it how many cards to create. Each slide is essentially a card.
So let me ask you, so thank you, amazing. And I can't believe we literally did all of that in, I don't know, like short of just shy of 20 minutes to be able to have that presentation created and to be created in a way that's just it's literally almost ready to go, aside from you maybe looking at a couple of different images. I know that you've been working with clients and helping them with their AI workflows and things like that. And I know that this A4 AI integration model is newer. So I know you were doing the work prior to that. I just want to ask and maybe end with this question. When in terms of thinking about automation at the end, how do you think that's up leveled the impact that you're able to have on your clients with their own workflows by taking this different perspective, as we shared earlier, where everybody is all about let's automate first? How do you think that's impacted the results that your clients have been able to see?
I think it's much easier because they can feel a step by step. You don't start playing the piano by playing Rachmaninoff. That's crazy advanced. And that's where the automation really comes in. So you first got to understand, what are the basics of AI? What is this thing, and what are its strengths and weaknesses, and what are its limitations? How does it kind of work? So you get a feel for it. Then you learn some prompting skills, and then you learn some advanced prompting skills. And so once you get used to doing some prompting, and then all of a sudden, oh, I can bring in a framework and build that into a multi-step prompt. It's, oh my God, now I can do anything if I just find the right framework and I learn how to write a good multi-step prompt and give it some examples. And that's half of your automation right there, because you've got it all, so you can just reuse it over and over again with a Claude project or a Chat GPT, a GPT. Then if you want to look at, how do I push it out to social media channels and do some make automations and some other things like that, great, that's fine. But the core really starts with that very beginning, and you got to learn to walk before you run. And that's what it really is. And that builds your confidence. And so I've seen that with clients. Once they learn some of this, and some of them first have to see, oh, wow, I can really do that, because they've tried the prompts and they get generic stuff out and they're frustrated, right? But you show them an advanced prompt and what they can get out of it, and then they become excited, and then they're willing to go back and learn some of those steps to build their skills, and then eventually get to the automation. And it just takes the pressure off by them not having to feel like they have to automate everything in the beginning. It just feels, oh, I can still work from where I am and just do a step by step and get a little better. And eventually I'll be able to automate. I don't have to automate everything right now. Everybody's not automating everything right now. They're just learning how to do what we're doing. So it takes the pressure off.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. And I think you're right. I think I definitely hear people, it's they don't even know what they're trying to automate, or they bring people in like you and I, and then we automate things and they're like, I don't even know how it works. And I just love that analogy. And I love that potentially with your clients, it doesn't just help them integrate and leverage AI. They actually have ownership and an understanding of what's going on, which really empowers them and allows them to still not be in control, but still be well informed about what's happening inside of their business versus taking some of that knowledge away from them by starting with the automation first. And essentially, they're almost able to then process and see where that automation came from instead of just going, I don't know, some guy came in and built this for me and this is how it works.
Right.
I think that's so much
Right.
value in just like an up level service of being able to say, like, with this process, you as the business owner, you're going to understand like where this all came from and the whole process behind it. And I love that because I don't see a lot of agencies that are doing AI integration trying to preserve that, right?
Yeah, that's part of my mission, really, is to help business professionals who are tech interested but not tech savvy,
Mm.
and give them a foundation to work with, some basic understanding, some develop an AI mindset. We both had to develop this mindset about how we use AI, and then some basic skills that they can begin to build on. And then you feel empowered to start using it. And then you can have better conversations with people who are like way ahead of you. But if you don't understand the basics, it's hard to even understand what they're talking about. So let's empower the mass group of business professionals and educators to be able to do this.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. Thanks, Bruce. I knew that this was going to be a real treat being able to have you on one of our hack sessions. I think you more than met the goal because I saw a number of things going in there that I know people can go out and test and implement and integrate right away. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Awesome. Yeah. And if you want to know more, just go to my website, brucefleck.com, and or direct message me. That'll be great.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from any of you.
Amazing. Thank you again for joining us. And thanks everybody for tuning in to this Scale with AI Summit hack session. I know a lot of you are going to be Googling Gamma and getting on that. If you didn't know about that tool, it's one of our favorites. I know, and you can see how powerful it can be when used alongside this A4 AI integration process. So I hope you enjoy, everybody, and we'll see you inside the next session. Take care.